you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with black women. With white women.
With all women, you should only be with the black woman.
So
and what I also tell black women, if
married,
you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated? It's not tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Exactly.
Over here, I want to say this to us though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
See, he knows that black women are ending up with failed results because of their poor choices. But Dr. Umar is saying because she's not good at making decisions, black men must be held accountable.
See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father?
So basically, you would go and write a prisoner. You would scroll all the way down to where it says view all pen pal profiles. You would click that and you'll scroll down, and where it says institutional email, that'll be where you contact them at.
This is the shit I'm talking about, and it ain't even her. It's the people in the comments. I saw comments in there talking about this is my sign. No, it's not. Stop having babies out of your selfish wants. Why would you knowingly traumatize a child by having a child with a man that's actively incarcerated?
If she's picking Pookie and Ray-Ray instead of...
You're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
Why is there even a Pookie in the selection? If we never allow Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie.
I need a drug dealer and then a scammer, then fuck the 9 to 5. I want the scammer first, then the drug dealer, then the 9 to 5.
You feel me? Because, it's ladies only question. And I'm asking them, what type of guy you like? A 9 to 5, a scammer, or a drug dealer? Scammer, drug dealer, or a 9 to 5?
Drug dealer. I want him to move that way.
I can't do this no more. I'm breaking up with you. Fuck it.
I'm finna start meditating, bro. Cause every time I open this app, I see some bullshit. Y'all can't all be rapper, NFL, NBA wise. Half of y'all ain't even cute. Stop acting outlandish. On my mama, y'all acting.
Hey everyone, this is Rock from Stage in the Sky. I'm not sitting down because I'm about to go on a rant right now. I've been watching this interview that Dr. Umar gave with the Breakfast Club, not the Breakfast Club, the Black. It's a crew online. They usually have women on their panel to talk about, the culture and dating and issues and stuff like that. Today they had Dr. Umar, and Dr. Umar, I barely knew about him. Like, he started kind of blowing up after Kevin Samuels blew up, and I don't subscribe to the ideology. What I'm about to talk about is about black culture, the black community, and this concept that we're all like this monolithic organization. As if we get together on Sundays, talk about what's going on, make a vote on it. Everyone, not just our parents, not just the kids, not just the elders, but everyone has a vote on it, and we voted on this stuff. That doesn't happen. You hear the way I talk? You hear the way I talk? I speak proper English. Ever since I was a kid, a little young buck, I've always spoke proper English. When I used to work at my first job was at KFC. I would do the intercom for the drive-thru. A lot of people, straight up, this is in Georgia, would come up to the drive-thru and be shocked. Like, oh my God, I thought you were white. That's just the way I talk. My whole life, I've been, and this isn't just me. A lot of black people we've experienced, especially black men and black women too, where we're black in color, but we've been accused of, oh, you wish you was white. Oh, you acting white. The hood culture, the urban, the hip hop, the R&B. Like, all of that's black, and if you're not part of that, then the black community doesn't accept you as one of them. Either way, that happened in the past. What I'm going to talk about now is just this stupid ideology, because very often you'll hear people say, "Oh, you wish you wasn't black," or you're a self-hating black," and I'm like, I might be, because I don't like this stupid mentality of, well, look at all these other blacks. What are we doing about it? Look at the Pookie and Ray-Ray. Why does Pookie and Ray-Ray exist? It's like, what do you think? What do you think I can do about it? And deep down, the reason why a lot of us guys, as black men, as good men, take it personal is because deep down, a lot of us wish the culture would change. A lot of us want to do something about it, but we can't do that. You know, like, we're not the cool kids. We're not the Drakes. We're not the Rihannas. We're not the popular kids. You know, we're not the BET awards where they're shaking up on screen and it's like, what do you expect us to do about it? The laws prevent us from actually taking things by force, metaphorically dragging a person, kicking and screaming to the light, you know, because equality. And speaking of equality, doesn't he diminish a lot of women by just telling them that, it's our fault as men, as if they can't make their own decisions, as if they can't make the right decisions? Like, as if women don't have a hand or a say in the culture or the influence. As if we didn't see Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and Lizzo rise up, Beyonce rise up, and just influence a whole generation of women. That's men's fault too? A lot of us black men were raised in the 90s, right? So we saw movies like What's Love Got to Do With It or Color Purple, where, you know, Ike Turner's beating their women. It's like, no, we don't want to do that. Man, this is a horrible image of a black man. So that's why a lot of us guys were upset with Will Smith, because it's like, oh, he's one of the good ones. And then he went up there and slapped Chris Rock because, oh, keep my wife's name out here. It's like, no, you're one of us. What are you doing? You're not hood. And for Dr. Umar to say, oh, the men from the African continent, they won't put up with it, but us, we have to put up with it. Why? I can tell you, last year I matched with two beautiful black women. Both of them were in medical school, right? So obviously they had a lot of debt. A lot of them were business savvy and very driven, but they're also very masculine, very aggressive, and very indoctrinated by the world. The first one was worldly in the sense that, oh, I don't believe that there's anything wrong with homosexuality. I'm like, well, what about the scriptures say? You say you're Christian, but if you had to pick between the world or the Bible says, which way do you choose? And she couldn't pick the Bible. Oh, I have gay friends, and I don't feel like, you know, my shoving down my beliefs down people's throats. It's like, I don't either, but I picked the Bible. You know, how am I supposed to be yoked to a woman like that? How can I marry a woman like that if we're gonna have arguments like that? And this is what I really want to hammer home, because it's the arguments. A lot of us good men who aren't, you know, loving hip hop or BET, we're not Kevin Samuels out here, you know, where we're built and equipped to stand there and just take and be berated by and argue with an attitude-laced, aggressive woman every time you come home or in your relationship, before you even get married. You know, every time you have a debate or dispute, you know, she wants to write, because that's what happens. This is what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know this. Let's stop acting like, oh, this doesn't happen. What happens is, oh, I want a strong masculine leader, right? And then when you find one, you want your masculinity to rise up to his. So you don't just accept and submit and follow him. No, you want to compete and challenge with him. And people say, oh, you don't want to be challenged? Look up the definition of challenge. It's not pleasant. It's not a cool thing. It sounds great. And we want to be challenged when it comes to getting better at what we do, but not in your home. I built this sanctuary. I don't want to come home and have to deal with difficulty after I'm just busting my ass all day. And then he wants to say, oh, well, you guys need to understand that this is a problem we made. Y'all can't act like black women can't be angry with us. Who? Who's us? Like I said, I'm not part of that crowd. Well, he ain't talking about you. Is he? Because I think he is. I think he's lumping all black people together, which I can't stand. Dr. Umar and people like him who say that us American men need to just accept that and take that just because of what some people did in the past or whatever trauma she's dealt with or whatever men she's dealt with. This is why I kind of understand what white people are talking about when they say, oh, why do I need to be, you know, pay for the sins of our ancestors and people who own slaves? I never owned a slave. It's like, I get that. Because when you hear the mentality of, oh, well, you know, they dealt with all this bad trauma and now they're single mothers and now you guys need to deal with it. Nah, son. No. Why? Why should I? You know, like a lot of us good men, the men who never gave into the hip hop or the hood culture, we left the hood. You know, we went to developed areas. We made something ourselves. We built something ourselves. Why in the flip will we go back to the community that rejected us? Why? They don't owe us anything. I'm a Christian. You know, I live by the Bible standards. Never in the Bible does it say, Blacks must stay with blacks. Blacks must, separate themselves from whites. Blacks must buy black things. Blacks must support black-owned businesses. It doesn't say that. Instead, it says Christianity is, who are my mother? Who are my brothers? Who are my sisters? Everyone who does the will of my Father in heaven is my mother and my brother and sister. It doesn't matter what your race is. This is Christianity. I'm not sure what Dr. Umar is. He's probably, I don't want to say what I think he is, but it just bothers me that there's this onus on us as men where we didn't engage in hookup culture. We didn't engage in being drug addicts. We left the hood. We built something ourselves. We stayed away from prisons. We don't have a record. We don't lose our crap if things don't go our way. So we're not the stereotypical black men who will go up and slap at someone who's talking about our wives. We don't do any of that. We live the straight and narrow path, and still, it's our fault that all these fucking criminals, and all of these people who made bad decisions, and ended up in their station in life, and they promulgated BET awards. They had a Hoochie Mama convention. They keep promoting it. They keep accepting it. In my last video, I kind of touched on it. I said accepted, but really it's expected. What I'm talking about is, oh, well, why did you become a single mother? Oh, well, I was young and I made a mistake. And they act like that's the reason. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And I think the reason why, if you don't shame it, if you don't call it out and say, nope, that's bad. Oh, you're 22, you're beautiful. Hey, wait till you get married before you have sex, before you have children. If we don't start saying this, of course they're going to keep doing the bad thing. They're seeing what the fruits of the labor. You see the love and hip hop. They see the social media where you're basically winning by being a wicked bad person. Rock, what do you mean wicked bad? If you go against what the Bible says about how you should live your life, that's not good. That's wickedness. And we're taught to discern what's right and wrong. People want to say, oh, that's judgmental. No, it's using your brain. And judgmental... All right, let me say this. Let me go back. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not going to cut it out because I just said, no, it's not judgmental. It is judgmental. We're supposed to be judgmental. The reason why you read the Bible is so you can discern what's right and wrong. The reason why this culture doesn't want you to do that because they want to indulge in the wicked behavior. They're comfortable with the darkness. They don't want to see the light. In fact, they hate the light. The Bible tells us this. All right. So the whole notion of, oh, well, the reason why single mothers and black women have a reason to get upset and angry is because of us. No, it's because of the men that they've chosen to deal with, and we need to call that out. It's not listen to me very closely. Black women, black men. If you left the hood, if you don't engage in the hookup culture, if you are a good person, you strive to do what's good in God's eyes, resist all of this crap. All right. Resist the shaming tactics, because this is what I would say. This is one of the worst things about being a black person, is because if you don't toe the line, they act like, oh, well, you're not black. And it's like, nope, I can't change my skin. Oh, I'm not black? Wow, you wake up the next morning and you're Michael Jackson? Like, what are you guys doing? And Dr. Umar says around the panel, you may be a good father, you may be a good father, you may be a good father, but there's other ones. Now go talk to the other ones. Go get them. Like, go to flipping prisons. Just go up to those guys, and then preach your message. Those are the ones that you need to hear it. The good guys out here, the good women out here, we don't need to hear it. We're upset with it. We see what's going on in the news. We see all the Hoochie Mama conventions. We see, people going to airlines and acting a fool. We're like, dang, man. God. Oh, Rock, they shouldn't be prejudiced against us. Oh, why are they locking the door when a black person walks by? It's like, can you blame them? Last year, we saw report and news article and videos of black people just randomly attacking Asians and elderly and white people. Was it this year? Where in Chicago, like a couple was just walking up to the building and they were surrounded by a bunch of black teens and they just got jumped and beat. What was Dr. Umar's stance on that? Right? Because if I was there, I don't care if I die or not. I'm not letting that, it angers us. Right? Because it's an injustice. And it's like, they're making all of us look bad. But Rock, you just said, yeah, but that's the way the culture is, man. All right. I'm sorry for cursing. Am I crazy here? Am I Rock, no, you need to get the program because me and my brothers weren't raised that way. Officer Tatum, all right, one last point and I'll let it go. Officer Tatum gave an awesome panel discussion, where he and a couple, I guess it was black conservatives, 2 black conservatives and 2 black liberals. And Officer Tatum was telling people, hey, no, my station in life is because of the good decisions that I made.
I think that a lot of our issue comes from right here in the mind. The reason we vote the way we do is from a lack of education. The reason that we think, and no disrespect to the young lady, that we think that somehow our issues are external is a lack of education and knowledge. I honestly believe that we are the arbiters of our success. If we have problems in the inner city communities, we have to look in the mirror first. I'm a successful black man. I got an education. I own my own business. I employ black people in my business, and I pay them very well. Why? Because they're qualified.
The other day, I was reflecting on my grandmother, and I was raised by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. Both my parents were incarcerated on the federal level when I was approximately 5 years old. And I thought about something. My grandmother told me one day, she said, do you know that you are the first generation that was born free in this country? Because we are not too far removed from the institutional racism as it relates to signs, as it relates to legislation, etc., that keeps people like you, like me, like her, and like you, successful brother, in bondage.
And let me say this, even though you were the first generation, look at how much you've been able to accomplish. How much barriers do you have if you've been able to accomplish so much and you're only the first generation?
Well, let me tell you about my barriers.
What did you do? What did you do to go to jail?
I was involved in criminal enterprising.
There you go. So, let me just say this. The reason that I say that is because it's the same person in the mirror. The reason why you went there and I didn't is because decisions that you made and I didn't make those decisions. And the reason why you're successful now are the positive decisions that you made learning from the experience. Those are decisions that you're making are the arbiters of your success. It has nothing to do with these external factors.
And when I made bad decisions, guess what? I had bad outcomes. There was another guy out there talking about the reason why people are incarcerated is because 50 years of racism and whatever, and I had to go to prison. But now I'm doing a lot better. And Officer Tatum told me, yeah, you're doing a lot better because you made better decisions. You, individual, not the organization, not your ancestors, although the ancestors did pave the way for us to be what we can do now, but who you are, your station in life is because of you, the individual. Stop relying on humans, rely on God, He's there for everyone. But you gotta accept him. By accept him, I'm talking about don't go half in, okay, I'm part of hood hip-hop culture, but also I call myself a Christian, that I believe in Jesus Christ, but you don't even know who Jesus Christ is. I saw a video yesterday, horrible, this illiterate person talking about I believe in having sex outside of wedlock, and I dated a 6'3" lawyer, but, it didn't work out, and he's boring. I'm Christian, y'all, but it's like, are you? What do you think God says on monogamy? What do you think God says on the hookup culture? Because if you know and you actively choose not to do that, are you really a follower of Christ? But going back to Officer Tatum, I really respected what he had to say because it really does boil down to you as an individual making good decisions. I think the community can help, but even there, like when you're part of a community and you see that the community is doing bad decisions or they're backing a bad cause that goes against what God's saying, it's up to you as an individual saying, nope, I'm not part of that. Oh, you being disloyal. Listen, my loyalty has always been with God first. Not the black community. It's always been with God. All right? All right.